Hi, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Dear family and friends, it is another night. I just want to report what I'm seeing on the thought streams. I think people are going nuts right now. I think it's just like, it just seems like each person wants to report some other level of disaster that we can't do anything about. The geoengineering comes to mind. This is a diabolical, sinister plot against humanity, and it seems as though nothing affects it. And I'm not going to pretend that I know what's going on, but I think the noise that we're hearing, and this is just one section of this general. I think it's the storm before the quiet, that we are reaching a crescendo of D-class, of people finding out information, of finding out, for example, that their fetal stem cells in major products like Tropicana orange juice, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all these things have fetal kidney stem cells. I mean, it's DNA. Why? Because the Satanists want us all to partake of their satanic rituals. That's why they do it in McDonald's meat, all these things. But it, the information is coming out in a kind of a it's it's like drip drip flood. I think we're in like the flood stage. It's just pouring out. And hey Michelle, um, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm trying to keep myself calm. I just we just had you know, we've been going through some situations here, but at the end of the day, it's essential to me to constantly look at your partner and say, it's going to be okay. We're going to work through this. Everything is good. That it seems to me that we are kind of like, as I named it before. It's the storm before the quiet. It's like all channels are, the news can't get any worse, and then you go to another person, and it's just like, well, now it's worse. It just seems. However, I think this is just a phase in this cacophony of discernment, of understanding what our world is really about. The big reveals. But it's hitting me like a wave right now. But you and I have been studying this for years. Everything seems like a trial, but we always get through. Yeah. I think that's a great way of putting it, daughter of the most high God. It's going to be okay. We just need to reset the republic. I think so. Yeah, I like that, Nancy. Thank you. Thank you for your comment. And it's not, and it is, we need to reset the republic, and we also need to reset the tone on the planet, that the criminals do not run this place. They have been, but the revelations, like this story, of all the stories that I've been wading through today, reminds me. I had this guy from, I knew this guy from AA. He was my sponsor's sponsor, I think. I was just saying, we're wading through. I mean, I used to do a lot of fishing and waders, but he used to say, I put on my what do you say? Uh I put on my hip boots and hope the shit is only knee high. That was what Smitty would say. That, it's just like, this is just, it's part of the journey, to deflect, to constantly remind yourself that everything is okay. It really is. It's better than okay because we didn't even know about this stuff. Well, I never heard of adrenochrome. I never heard of, you know, I never even imagined. I remember when I first came across this statistic that 8 million kids go missing every year globally. I mean, 8 million kids? They say 6 million people were killed in the Holocaust, but you're talking about 8 million kids go missing and nobody even knows about it? Kind of like I remember reading back in the day when I still I thought the New York Times had some small. I thought it was the the record of the day, and it was a big. The New York Times was a staple in my home for my entire childhood, and what where am I going with this? That right, the New York Times, right, that I read an article years ago. It was on the front page, but it was just like a little box on the front page. It said something to the effect that 800,000 Nigerians, I don't think it was Nigerian, I think it was, oh gosh, a country in Africa that has just been peacified. Anyway, I don't remember what country it was, but they were just saying that this little article on the front page that said 800,000, I forget what country it was in Africa, were just hacked to death by machetes. 800,000. It was a little tiny article on the front page of the New York Times next to all the other, frilly intellectual things that back in the day we thought was so important, like the uh, the magazine section on the Sunday Times. I mean, it was like, wow, this really heady stuff. And now looking back, it was a total perversion. But imagine a world where a little tiny box on the front page of the 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 magazine of record, in other words, the major information source of the day, the most trusted source at that time was the New York Times. A little article about 800,000 people just got hacked to death with machetes. It's like, but and that's the level of insanity that we're dealing with. And I think what's happening now is that more and more people are waking up. 8 million kids, 8 million children go missing every year. 8 million? How do you even conceive of such a number? 8 million. I guess, if you told me 10 kids went missing last year, I'd be like outraged. I'd be like, 10 kids? That's outrageous. But 8 million kids just disappeared from the planet? Wow. But thank God now we understand these things. Now we understand that the Red Cross is a trafficking organization. That the UN has very little interest in uniting nations. They're involved with other rather sinister activities. So it seems to me, and you and I we've been wading in this thought stream. We've been studying, we've been running down rabbit holes for years. But now it has reached a kind of a crescendo, in my opinion. It seems to me that there's a crescendo of horrific news traveling through the X thought stream right now. And I think we have to really be careful to just take a deep breath and just say, this is the storm before the quiet. Because we're going to reach a moment. There's going to be something that goes down. I know everybody tells me the EBS is coming. The EBS is coming next week. It's been coming next week for like 8 years. Okay, in my mind, I'm sorry. I don't see it. I don't think that's the way this story is going to end. I don't think it should end that way. It should end with like what kind of like more like what Nancy is saying. Nancy Singletary is that it ends with the people waking up and saying, we've had enough of this. We're going to start our own world. We're not interested in all this. So the story that caught my mind. Okay, let me go to the thoughts of all the stories. Now I don't know, what things really stand out to you, and it probably varies depending on the vibrational frequency of your soul. But this story just kind of blew my mind. Let's see if I can find it. All right, we'll go here. Okay, right here. Okay, let's see if I can find it. It was this story. It was Gitmo awaits breaking. Gitmo awaits breaking. Largest healthcare fraud in U.S. history. Operation Gold Rush exposes 14.6 billion medical scam. 324 charged. 324 doctors, nurses, and executives charged in the largest healthcare fraud in U.S. history, Operation Gold Rush. Covers 14.6 billion in scams, mansions, crypto, and luxury stolen with your tax money. This isn't just corruption, it's organized medical betrayal. Gitmo awaits. Operation Gold Rush, the 14.6 billion medical heist that exposed an empire of fraud. And I don't necessarily, I've never really trusted AMG News. I've always thought they were a bit sensational, but this story, and let's just listen. Let me just play a little bit of it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Gagliotti, and I'm the head of the Justice Department's Criminal Division. Thank you all for joining us today as we announce the largest coordinated healthcare fraud takedown in the history of the Department of Justice. Today marks a decisive moment in our fight to protect American taxpayers from fraudsters and to defend the integrity of America's healthcare system. We are announcing today charges against 324 defendants for their alleged participation in healthcare fraud schemes involving approximately $14.6 billion in false claims submitted to Medicare, Medicaid, and other healthcare programs. In a takedown this large, I can't possibly describe all of the work that went into dismantling each scheme, but there are 4 key points that bear emphasizing. First, let me be clear about what these healthcare fraud schemes mean for every hardworking American family. These criminals didn't just steal someone else's money. They stole from you. Every fraudulent claim, every fake billing, every kickback scheme represents money taken directly from the pockets of American taxpayers.
Okay, I just wanted to, let's see, where am I? Stop sharing. I just wanted to, I just find it so impressive, this story. Why? Because you and I are waiting for Hillary Clinton. I mean, we're really not. We know that Hillary Clinton's long dead. She had her tacos, her last meal years ago. But the world, the world of a kind of a sensationalist matrix that was created for us supports the idea that the big shots go down first. Now you're talking about 324 people that we've never heard of, that were stealing billions of taxpayer dollars. This is, to me, the essence of what's going on right now. The bad guys are going down. The sealed indictments, I suppose, are being unsealed, and people are actually getting arrested and going to Gitmo. regular, what we think of as regular people who are hardcore criminals, like nice guys in suits, that you would meet them and you would be so impressed, like, wow, man, I got to meet so and so. He's the head of blah blah blah. I mean, and what a cool dude, and he was like just a regular kind of guy. No, these are hardcore gangsters. These are Satanists. Okay, but the point is like this, that if these people are being removed from behind the scenes, these are not people who you see on the newspaper or in the New York Times, right? Maybe you do, I don't know, but it means, and with Doge and all the little things that we hear. Remember, most of what Q has said, that 80% of what's going on right now will never reach the public. It's only like 20%. This is a takedown of this sinister, evil matrix. So, what do the bad guys do? What do all the little criminals that are waiting for the knock on their door, what do they do in the meantime? Well, 6 senators got online. They went online and made a video saying, don't do anything that President Trump tells you to do to the military," which is treason. I'm just saying that the backlash against these arrests that are occurring is going to produce a black tide of panic, of despair, of feelings that we can't escape this dark cloud over the world. And I really think, in my heart of hearts, that it's just a cleansing wave. It's just a wave that's going to clean out the swamp once and for all. We went to get water. We ran out of water. We have a guest with us, and we ran out of water. So my guest, who's just a super nice guy, he said, "Let me clean out your tank. Let me clean out the tank." It was disgusting. And he took this thing, and I have this tool that he used, and he scraped it out, and the amount of gunk that came out of our water supply tank was absolutely horrific. And that is, I think, a great metaphor of what's happening today. The world is being cleaned. The world is being exposed for the first time to the evil nature of these guys in suits. You thought, wow, man, that's he lives in a mansion, and he's, a member of all the clubs, and I don't know. I just remember, growing up. I grew up in a town, and that people's fathers had very impressive jobs, and I was always a little bit. I mean, I think in retrospect, I was always terrified of these people. I never wanted to meet my friends' parents. I dreaded it. And I think it was just sort of a natural, now I think I'm a bit of an empath, and I'm a bit sensitive to vibrational, frequencies that are, you can tell me that things are like this, but really, a feeling person says, well, it may seem like that, but I can tell it's really more like this. But I grew up in a very affluent community. I was terrified of the parents, every one of them. I don't remember one person in the whole. I can't remember one adult in the whole community that I ever felt like, hey, I could hang with that person. I don't think I ever felt that. Anyway, these people are being exposed, and the so what does that what happens when as these people are panicking and exposed is that they're sending out messages of all kinds that are about how bad things are, and they don't necessarily operate from like a liberal perspective. That's what's going on X right now. They're cleansing. They're saying a lot of these patriots were deep state actors pretending to be patriots. They were hired by, probably, I'm guessing, Israel, because Israel is very, the people are very conscious of public movements, because they're so because we are so fearful of the Holocaust. We've been raised on these stories, but I think that that's what I'm seeing tonight, and it could go very quickly. That we just have to maintain our feelings of hope, of peace, of, like Nancy says, of the republic. Now, how do you express the republic? Well, when Daniela and I travel, and now with her cousin, when we travel together, we we say hello to people. We're nice to everyone we meet, and people are like so happy, so delighted to be treated nicely, because I think people are so in their heads, possibly, that they don't take the time anymore. It used to be, when I was growing up, it was just considered kind of like common courtesy to to say nice things to people and greet people, and people, you don't have to say hello to them, but you say hello to them anyway, and it's somebody who's working in a shop that's helping you, and you treat them nicely with respect. That's part of the republic. It's recognizing a fellow human being, whether they're real human beings or reptiles. I don't know about that. That's beyond my pay grade. But to just treat everyone, it's Thanksgiving. Just say, hey man, have a nice Thanksgiving. Yeah. We in the 3D matrix moving up to 5D. Yeah, I think so. I think that's a good way to put it, Anton. Let me go down to, um, we have to raise our vibration. Yeah. Republic. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Nancy. Yeah. You keep, you're welcome to put out the sites, man. And delusional. You need to move to an assisted living, Captain Daniel. Yeah. Captain Daniel Awant, delusional. I just, okay. Um, okay. Republic website. Yeah. All right. So anyway, so let's go. Let's just review a bit of the thought stream. Let's just go with the lens of thinking like this is just like my tank. I use the metaphor of my water tank. When you scrubbed it out, man, a lot of sludge came out, and that's what's going on in the world. And the sludge is not going down easy, right? And they pretend, they have a history of pretending to be on our side, and yet they put it in a kind of a slanted way. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to Alex West, who mentioned me in his broadcast. Nancy brought it to my attention, but it was so nice of him to say that, I'm up there with, um I can't remember all the names, but Jaco and Dino and all the guys. I've been doing this for years. I've had a lot of channels taken down, and it doesn't really, I'm not doing this so I can be like, wow, man, I really want to get recognized for what I do. It's like I would have quit a long time ago, or I'm just in it for the money. I mean, there is none. Although, this was a thought I had today with talking to Dr. Stacy. The life wave, it's sort of like by accident. I got into LifeWave. I was into, you remember, I was into other network marketing uh, products, but I really like Dr. Stacy. I like doing business with her. She's just incredibly sharp and consistent and hardworking. Nobody works as hard. I'm just gonna go to captions. I'm gonna try to do this a little differently. I realize I'm in a little slightly LifeWave, right? Ticker. Yeah, let's see what happens if I do that. No. Okay, so I'm not going to do the ticker. But anyway, here's all the contact information. I don't have to show those wacky little screenshots because I was on a platform that didn't, I couldn't chat with people or whatever. Let me go back to the chat and I'll deal with that. But I just want to say that I've been saying in the last couple days, like, that I was a little bit concerned about people saying, if XRP goes to $10, I'm going to quit my job. I thought that was just a kind of a weird thing to think, because like I thought to myself, hey man, if you don't like your job, why do you have to wait for something outside of yourself? It's just like saying that the universe controls me and I'm just a pawn in the game, and I can only move after somebody else helps me out or does it. I don't like that attitude. I think Nancy will agree to me. This is a time for us to become who we really are, which is manifestors, which is people of the force, people who have the ability to create. So I want to just throw out the idea quickly that uh, I I was in real pain. I could barely walk the last couple days, and I've been doing a lot of physical work. And then yesterday we went to town because some X39 had arrived at our mailbox. So today I today and yesterday I had X39, and I can't tell you what a difference it makes with pain. It doesn't totally remove the pain, but it makes you be able to it gives you functionality. I built the first wow, today I built a wall, and we took a sliding glass door. We were working, I've designed this bathroom, and we put a sliding glass door sideways because we need big pieces of glass. I wanted to have a place with a lot of big windows. So we took a sliding glass door and put it on its side as the window in the bathroom, a little bit elevated so nobody can really look in. Why am I saying this? Because Yeah, just I guess I'm just talking about manifesting and using the materials that you have, but it didn't cost me a lot of money to buy an old, dirty, disgusting, that just needs a little cleaning, piece of glass to put it in a window. But generally I'm talking about that I've been saying that if you're waiting for XRP to go up so you can quit your job, why don't you just quit your job? And I'm just saying that I lost my job in the Department of Education. I lost 14 channels in YouTube, and I was blackballed, or I couldn't make a living doing what I do, and I tried different network marketing things, and it didn't necessarily work out, but it worked out with Dr. Stacy. And I'm just saying that, like, if you're looking for something that you might feel good about besides the product, which is miraculous. And that, oh yeah, I'm saying that I was able to, I built this whole, what I was getting to was that I manifested a bunch of lumber. So I'm a carpenter. Can you imagine how I built this whole, or Danielle and I built this whole structure around the RV with no lumber? So I'm in the old, a couple of weeks ago, I was like, well, I only have one 2x6. Should I cut it in half, or should I, just use half? I was making all these decisions. Now, today, I built a wall where I have like a lumber yard on my property. So like I put in, 16-inch centers, and and it just fit in. It was just like, so now I have one decent wall out of like, let's say 8 to 10. It's kind of a rough octagonal type structure, but um, how pleasant it is. But going back to making a living, the idea that I realized that I wasn't able to make a living in the ways that I might have been, but now I'm making a little bit of a living from LifeWave, and it's not a bad gig, man. You're sharing something that really helps people, because this product is just, like I'm saying, for myself, my back was just really out last week, and I didn't have any X39, and I was miserable. I could like just barely walk, and then I got my X39 back 2 days ago, and I built this whole wall today, and it from scratch. I just started today, and we finished it today, and it looks like a real wall. Unlike all the other walls are kind of like, you got this window sort of hanging in space because I didn't have any lumber. I said, we'll just cut a hole in the plywood and we'll stick it in, and we'll put some kind of structure under it. These are just sort of like details, but I'm just saying that if you hate your job and you want to do something where you're really helping people acclimate to a healing technology that really works, it's so unlike anything we're used to. Even, all the holistic cures that are coming out now, which are, ivermectin and all these things, are miraculous. But so too is this LifeWave patch, and so I encourage everyone to give Dr. Stacey a call. She's not doing her Zoom meetings. Today is Wednesday, right? Today's Wednesday?
No, Tuesday.
Tuesday. Today is Tuesday. She's not doing her Zoom meeting Tuesday and Wednesday. She usually does, but they're sort of laying low for Thanksgiving. But call Dr. Stacey and just tell her, hey man, what do I do for pain? What do I do for, I have this condition? Can you help me? Because they can, and it takes a while for us as it to invest in this technology, because you think like, hey man, I'm putting this little patch on my thing and it's going to really help me. We're not used to that. No, I got to go to the doctor and be bombarded with injections and cut open this and that and remove this, and that's what we're used to hearing, and we're used to thinking in those terms. But putting on a little like thing that looks like a band-aid that actually makes you, it reduces the pain in your body and stimulates stem cell production. We're not used to that level of miraculousness, and so too with Q. I mean, our whole mindset is being changed with XRP too, because a regular person doesn't generally succeed in the investment world. We're like my father told me, my father was a dentist and he had some extra money, or a little bit, and he invested it and he lost it all. He says, don't even bother with the stock market. It's not for us. That's for the big boys. They can make their money. And listen, they do. These investment bankers have been stealing from us for years, and totally taking advantage of our innocence and our inability to understand that they have everything in their pocket, and there's no way. It's kind of like going into Las Vegas and thinking like, well, I'm really going to make some money. Well, you might make money for one day. You might go back again and make money 2 days. And then the third day, you're going to be so hyped up and so overconfident because they're playing you. They'll take all your money and they'll make they'll put, this is the dealer always wins. But that, in my opinion, has changed with this ISO 222. And I know there are people skeptic of it and saying it's just central bankers in a different skin. I don't see that. I think we're coming into the promised land. I really do. I think that we just have to kind of be careful to not get knocked over by these black waves, by these dark waves of despair. And the geoengineering is a very big, it's a very big thing. They have lessen the chemtrails, but they're outrageous. They make X's in the sky. I- it's like, who are you? What are you? Why are you doing this to us? I don't know. I believe that they will be tried. I believe I've seen all kinds of skeptic things on the thing. Let's go through the thought stream together. But I would definitely check out. If you have a few years on you and you want to have stem cells in your body, uh, you want to have elongated telomeres in your chromosomes. You want to live long and prosper. Get a hold of Dr. Stacy and get some LifeWave patches. They're miraculous. It took me 2 years to really. I've told you this. It took me 2 years to appreciate the fact that, well, wait a minute. I was like, I'm not taking naps anymore. I'm not in pain. I'm still running around like a little kid. Why? We're not used to that thought that something can actually work, right? Because so much of the medicines that are used on us are not used for a positive purpose. So let's go to the thought stream and just wade through it a bit and see what we think. See if you agree with me about what I'm saying. Okay, so let's just go. I won't even go to my feed. A chemical called folic acid that is a natural B9, is not we make in the laboratory, does exist anywhere on the surface of Earth. Okay, I'm going to skip that one. I don't know what he's getting at. Here we go. The Q post. I can't really read this, but this Q, we have it all. J. Huber. Okay, they have it all. Okay, so that's cool. And I believe they do. Sometimes a good movie can provide a lot of truth and or background official secrets relevant today. Enjoy the show. Is that must be a movie? Is that a movie?
What?
Official secrets?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll have to check that out. Just in, Pete Hegseth confirms $1.2 billion are being shoveled into fixing disastrous living conditions for members of the military at the barracks. Improvements are to be that's a good thing. That's a good story, right? During a seemingly routine interview, Professor Sir John Bell, a key figure in the development of the Oxford vaccine, accidentally let slip a jaw-dropping bombshell that left the world in disbelief. Caught off guard, he Okay, so he probably said the truth about the vaccines, and I don't want to go into that. The director of national intelligence, the cartels under the Biden Harris terrorist organization lured in pregnant women, performed illegal cesarean section, harvested organs, and then sold the new babies. This is what This is the kind of information that's coming out. Immigrant from Somalia stole $47 million from American taxpayers in Minnesota. Okay, this kind of information is coming out. General Flynn says get ready. Okay, deep state slayer of the deep state. Trump traps. He is 100%. They were trapped with no escape. Trump's Trump's tax cuts were just the beginning. All right, let's listen to.
Donald Trump has actually trapped the rhinos. He has trapped the Democrat Party. And now they are being forced to do exactly what he wants. Because if not, the American taxpayer, the American voter, are going to unleash their wrath on them. Donald Trump's been in office a little over 130 days, 140 days maybe. He's making deals all over the world. And while he's making deals, he is still putting the pressure on Congress to pass this one big, beautiful deal. Mike Johnson, Senator Thune, John Thune, they are being forced to play ball. He was just on Air Force One praising them.
Okay, I'm not gonna. I want to go back for a second. Okay, I'm back. I just let me take off this thing. You already got the captions. Okay, you got the caption. Hide. Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to. Yeah. Let me go back to the drops. on X. Okay, 35 posts. Let's just go to the new drops. If you imprison repeat violent offenders, they will no longer be able to repeat offending violently. That's brilliant. Trust the plan. Trump just dropped the real reset plan. Blueprint for the next financial era in plain sight in English. He's not talking about imports. He's talking about replacing the IRS, detonating debt-based system, and funding America with pure external revenues. Okay, so we're all aware of that, but let's read what he actually said. Important, burn through stocked up Doge. Now they're trapped. Everything they buy gets hit. If SCOTUS blocks this, they're siding with. Okay, so this is. I'm not going to go deeply into this. Let's keep going here. LAPD are in gear as hundreds of airline catering workers and protesting outside Los Angeles airport, blocking a key intersection and disrupting traffic as the holiday rush begins. Now, if you saw this like I did, you would be thinking, man, they're blocking traffic when people are trying to get to their families on Thanksgiving. How horrific. However, I've seen this video for the last, at least the last 12 hours. I saw it this morning and I was outraged, and I'm seeing it again. It's as if how many, yes, this probably happened, but this is the kind of thing that I'm sort of talking about is that we're getting bombarded with this, the depths of depravity from the enemy. And it's like over and over again that, that thing with the political thing is also it's old. So on the thought stream, you can get reposts from the past. We have to raise our vibration. Yeah. Is this okay? So let's see. Congress is being doged. Yeah. ASEA is like that, subtle but really works. Yeah, I like ASEA too. Yes. Ellie call it Goshen. All right. Don't they breathe the same air as we do? I don't know, Norm. I don't know if they do or not. I really want to try the patches. Yeah, so just try them. They're amazing. Norman tried them. They're amazing. So Alex, yes, Alex mentioned me. Yeah, I was really just tickled that, and why shouldn't he? I mean, I like what he does. I like what he does. I like what all these guys do, to some degree. So, sometimes I feel like, I don't know. But yeah, okay. So you guys, you're on this, guys. So let's go back to the thought stream. I just want to go through it one more time. Let's see if maybe in the hour since I came up with this idea, it's no longer true, which is quite possible. We do not have enough people in prison. Okay. The new EPA is beginning to allow the use of pesticides containing FEA on food. These new forever were sprayed on food. This is the kind of thing that I'm just saying we are being bombarded with, like, the world is over kind of news. This is kind of what I'm talking about. Breaking federal judge issues injunction blocking President Trump's pardon of Gobble from taking effect. Right? She's not going to be able to kill the turkey because the liberals, an incredible move. Trump Interior Secretary Doug Burgum confirms foreigners must pay triple. Okay, in the things, doctors warn woman about toxic always pads that contain carcinogens and forever. This is all coming out 3 years down the line. This guy isn't looking so crazy. Okay. Orange County, California, lots of cheating. I mean, this is not news to us. Official portrait. This is the congressman who stole, big time. Bill Gates, really, from now, Bill Gates, this is from This guy is from the past. I mean, this was like years ago. Bill Gates knew the vaccines were dangerous. Duh. We all know that. As expected, I'm getting pushback from last week's post regarding the chemical fog. Well, they did it before. Okay, so I've seen it coming off the ocean too. Thanksgiving guidelines: no more than 3 households present. Parties no longer than 2 hours. Guests must remain outside. Avoid singing, chanting, and shouting. Okay, that's interesting. This needs to be heard. MAGA, Rick Grinnell on fire. The insurrection six are undermining our democracy. Right. This is all. Yes, gas is cheaper, and if you're not in the state when they are screwing you over, right? Like Arizona is pretty good, but not great. Better than California. Who knew hemp blocked EMFs? If people don't wake up, we will, over the next few years, completely lose our freedoms. Like, this is the kind of article that I'm talking about. Ex-Pfizer executive Dr. Mike Yaden. The agenda to roll out digital ID. Okay, this is just like, it's just black pill fear, man. And who knows who these people really are? If they're liberals who are trying to, I don't know. Five Eyes will become a commonly used thing. Okay, earth-shattering report came out that proves the CIA under Obama, with John Brennan at the helm, orchestrated and collaborated with Five Eyes. The intelligence communities, right? For the Five Eyes. Democrats are panicking over how many seats Republicans will gain with redistricting. Trump goes at Brandon Johnson and J.B. Pritzker for the out-of-control crime in Chicago. Venezuela Air Force on full alert after conducting nationwide war games, right? So I'm just saying that it seems Tucker Carlson, why globalists are trying to eliminate white people. I mean, listen closely. The turkey pardon isn't about Thanksgiving. He was really funny today. But you can see that Trump is trying to open up the idea that some turkeys are going to die, man. Some big turkeys that big names and small names, like these 324 doctors and nurses and executives that were arrested for stealing our money. So anyway, I don't think we need to wade into the thoughts here anymore. I'm just saying that, like, when reading all this kind of things, it seems to me that, the chemtrails really drive me nuts, but I don't go crazy anymore. I don't scream and yell at the planes. I don't even fantasize about buying like some heat-seeking missiles to blowing them out of the sky. Although I think that might be a kind of a New Republic type of solution to these people really, for no reason, destroying our air. Anyway, from North Queensland, Australia, how nice. Black pill content creators. Yeah, I think there's a lot of it, and I think Elon is going to be exposing. There's a lot of motivated, paid for. When you look at when I look at the other patriotic broadcasters, I think to myself, well, how do they get so much money to do what they do? I mean, I don't get paid. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but somehow they do it. Anyway, I think the end result of tonight's little, dipping, like wading through the black streams, is that this is the storm before the quiet, that people are getting arrested behind the scenes. people, we don't even know who they are and what they did. I mean, it's terrible. Children are being rescued, dumbs are being bombed, things are being set to rights. I don't think I mean, I like the idea that it's just gonna be over by next week and we're all gonna go back to some kind of or go into a new dimensional world, but there's a lot of yuck. There's a lot of yuck out there, man, that needs to be cleaned out, like in the bottom of my water tank that my friend was kind enough to scrape out, and we washed it out a few times, man. It just looked. I'm like, wow, man, that's been in my drinking water. That's pretty disgusting. But we do have filters. We are working on things and constantly progressing. And now I have lumber. I've actually built my first decent, like, it looks like a real wall. It's a really structured wall because I have lumber now. And that's what we can all do. We can all manifest whatever we need, in my opinion. And that we're coming out of an age of feeling that the world dictates for us what the future holds, and that we didn't happen to, I didn't happen to impress the right people in some way, so I'm on the other side, and there's nothing I can do about it ever, because I'll always be kicked out of this kind of thinking. It can get very discouraging out there, and if you let all this black pilling information get to you, you'll also be kind of discouraged. So, an Ozark smile, yeah, black pill content creators, yeah. There's a lot of that going around. I think we should just be happy, be grateful that we got through these last couple years, and that things are, in my opinion, things are really going to be moving fast. I know a lot of people expected XRP to go to the moon after the ISO 222 reset, but they're still talking about Iraqi dinars and all these wonderful things that'll come when they come. But I don't know if it's a quick fix. I think it's a change of mindset. We just have to change our minds and know that we can do what we want to do. I mean, I think a classic example is me up here with, wanting to build a house with no wood, and then it's kind of like the thought sort of snowballs. It starts out little things, like I was going to Home Depot and getting wood at half price. I got a few boards that way. Then I ended up at Lowe's, and they said, we'll give you this whole truckload of lumber for $70 or whatever it was. And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And then, it just got bigger. And then I went to a friend in town, and I said, can I know you have this dunnage, this wood that's a little bit cracked or warped. Can I buy some? He said, yeah. He said, I'll give it to you at less than half price. And then he made me an offer. He said, you could have all this dunnage for this price. And it was like, I went out the next day. I sold what I'd accumulated a roll of silver. I went out and sold it right away. And I came back like the next day, and I said, I'll take it. And it took me five trips for and it's a big deal to go from town to up to my place, but it took me 5 trips to move all that lumber. But now, it's so, don't be discouraged by anything. Just keep your thoughts positive, keep manifesting great things, and just keep priming the pump with action, with positive action. So anyway, I don't know, maybe I don't have that much to say tonight. I just think that, like, do not be discouraged. Do not let all this black pilling, all this that Bill Gates knew about it 20 years ago. Well, we know that. We know the guy's a Satanist, satanic fiend. I knew that. When I was working at Brownsville Academy. I was working as a chemistry teacher at Brownsville Academy in a very tough neighborhood. And the Bill Gates Foundation was funding it, and they were all talking about this wonderful new president, BO, and I was just like, I don't think so. Something doesn't seem right here. I just knew it. But that was that was the day. And how did I know that Bill Gates was totally corrupt? That was like, a good 30, was it 30 years ago? Like so say 20, 25 years ago, 20 years ago. Because it's obvious, but the world is finding out now. The world is being blackpilled in a sense, and it's good to a point, but you have to take a deep breath and just keep going on, and just knowing that it's not about things happening around you. It's not about in my mind, it's not about the EBS. It's not about finally President Trump comes out and says, okay, we're starting Jasara next week. It's like they're not going to name it like that. It's not going to be rolled out like that. It's not going to be the EBS is here, and the criminals have been running the world. They're doing that. The EBS is here. You don't need an official EBS. We don't need duck and cover time again. It's happening. The liberation, this gigantic sting operation has been so effective, and nothing can stop what's coming. So enjoy your Thanksgiving. I'll probably be back tomorrow. I didn't really, I don't even know what day it is anymore. And that's a good thing. And I really, I was telling you yesterday that I think this whole thing about separating the days of the week and all that stuff, and, knowing what time it is. And I think it's just, it makes life very, to some degree, somewhat unpleasant. Although I'm lucky enough to have a timekeeper. Daniela does all my timekeeping, and she's like, okay, you got to go on with Dr. Stacy. You got an hour now. You got a half hour. She counts down for me. So, because I don't want to think about it. I just want to build my house. That gives me great pleasure to do what I want to do. I have nobody hanging over me, telling me, you're working by the hour, and that it took an extra half hour, for you to put in that door. I'm not paying for, I used to work as a carpenter for by the hour and by hire, and it was, I always lost money no matter what I did, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist, and you know, and I never looked like like an axe murderer. So, like, people knew that, like, if they didn't pay me, I wasn't going to, like, show up at their door in the middle of the night. So they were just like, hey, I don't have to pay that guy. Anyway, so that's in the past. If everybody hadn't been here in 8 trillion years, well, welcome back, Billy Bear. I mean, I also haven't been here in 8 trillion years, because they removed every channel, the 14 channels that I tried to broadcast on. But all of a sudden, I have a channel that with 10,000 viewers out of nowhere, and my X account I'm up to like 17,000 subscribers. So, and I'm actually making money from a little bit of money from Lifeway, but I always expected to make money from broadcasting, and in a way it is related, but who knew? And it's a good thing. And I encourage other people, if you hate your job, man, it's not easy to get people to trust you enough to try this Lifeway product, but it's a very good company to work for, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying a little bit of success. I just rose to another rank. I'm just like, we're really trying. We're trying hard, because we really believe in the product. It's a great product. So yeah, let me be a little bit obnoxious and just, let's see, captions. Let me just put up the contact information. But I know, like, Norm, I haven't spoken to my friend Norman and Nachum, and I know he's tried the patches. I want to know how he's doing. But if anybody's interested in making this into a business, let me know, and let Dr. Stacy know, and we'll work together. I think it's a worthwhile kind of side project, kind of like building a house. But it's you're sharing something that's beneficial to people. Amazing product. Anyway, have a great night. Have a great Thanksgiving. We have some turkey up here, up in the high desert. We're going to try cooking some turkey. My peeps here, Daniela's family wants to go to the Grand Canyon. I'm a homebody, man. I just want to stay home. I'm tired of driving around. I've been driving a lot lately. I just want to stay home. So we'll figure it out. But I'll have to go with the flow, I'm sure, at some point. But just enjoy this time. It's a great time. I think things are really coming. We're coming into it. We're coming into a new era. There's no question about it. But will it be done by Christmas? At this point, I mean, I don't know. You know, we all want to believe that, but we've all wanted to believe that everything was going to change years ago. And they just kind of like teased us into the next month. They would say like, oh yeah, next month, the whatever. And we've been doing this for years. They've been telling us the arrests are starting next month. The EBS is coming next month. And then the next month comes and goes. And this has been going on for years like this. So we don't expect a quick fix. It pays to be patient because this is a huge transformation of the world that is has not happened before. Let me get back to the chats. It has not happened before. This is a tremendous transformation. I'm looking at a lot of film now about Tartaria and how like in the late 1700s, early 1800s, they destroyed the world. These creeps, and they've been controlling us ever since. And now we're about to reach for freedom. So I have been kind of avoiding this song because it's an important thing that we continually remember that we're in a very different place than we were not too long ago. We have learned a lot about our world, and it's not an easy pill to swallow, but we're heading for the promised land. I'm not going to play the Matrix one. I'm going to play this other one called New Morning. You know, the background of the song is I wrote this song when I was in Nashville like 30 years ago. I was going through a life change. I'd been a contractor, a building contractor for 20 years and in New York, and I left a situation that had fallen apart. And I'd been trying very hard to live in like as a normie. I was trying to be a normie. And then I came to Nashville and I met a bunch of people and said, you know, you don't have to live like that. You can live however you want to live. And which was, you know, periodically I've gone back and forth from two extremes all my life, but it was nice to be reminded that there's more to this world than the Matrix. And I found myself on a porch in somewhere in Georgia, and a pretty girl gave me, basically held me all night long, and I ended up waking up, and my friend Sparky Brown put his hand on my heart and said, we're going to give you a spiritual awakening. We're going to help you wake up to this thing. And so I woke up on this front porch. It was a new morning. It was like, hey man, you know, there is life after this huge sting operation, black pill sting operation. There's going to be an amazing thing moving forward. So let me play the tune, and then we'll wish each other good fortune and good things. Waking up on the front porch, Sunday at dawn. The night was hotter than hell and forever long. I can see the first light breaking through the trees. I feel the changes in the cool breeze of freedom. And it's a new morning. It's a new morning. We never saw it coming, hiding in plain sight. Banksters taking power, stealing our lives. They were looking to bury us in debt, shame and fear. But our roots grew stronger as we reached into the air with freedom. Freedom. And it's a new morning. It's a new morning. With each day we're rising up in this world with the power of love, with the power of peace, the power of joy, the power of truth, and the power of freedom. And it's a new morning. It's a new morning. It's a new morning. It's a new morning. So the end of the conclusion to all this, I think, is that, well, let me just take this down, is that uh, we are we it is all about us. It is all about us waking up. All this information, all this transformation, the matrix glitching and everything else, the black pilling, the this sting operation where they're arresting these people behind the scenes. It's just we only see the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion. And that but what has really changed is not so much the flashy arrests or the suddenly XRP goes to $10 or whatever. It's that we have really changed, and this goes back to like Nancy and the idea of the new republic. We have really changed, and we have really become empowered to realize that the force is with us. We are the force. We are collective consciousness. Because of the internet, we have access to each other and we can love each other from afar. It's a beautiful thing. And so may the force be with you. May you realize that you are the force and you can do whatever. You don't have to wait for permission. You don't have to wait for the EBS. You don't have to wait for XRP to go to $10. You can do it now. Unlimited, like I said, with the manifestation of this lumber. It's like, wow, man. I'm like, I got, I'm going out to my stacks of lumber. I'm like, I can choose between a 2x8 and a 2x6. I mean, I have a choice. That it's just like, this is all new to me. I'm like, yeah, let's do this with a 2x8, man. I mean, let's beef it up. For a carpenter, it's like, how do you work without wood? But I've been doing it, and we've been, we go down to town, we buy one piece of plywood, and we put it up here, and we put, we've been doing this for many months. But now it's like, it's a new morning, and it's all up to us. It's all how we look at it, and it's all about manifesting whatever it is we desire. So may the force be with you. May you realize that you are the force. May source be with you. May you realize you are the essence of creation, and you are part of creation, and you can create whatever vision you can imagine. Whatever you can imagine, you can do. So I can't believe it's Tuesday. I thought it was Wednesday, but I'll be back tomorrow, God willing. So let's get out there with a big smile on our face. I still haven't figured out how to turn this thing off. It's a new platform that I'm using. I mean, it's a new old platform. When I got kicked off of YouTube, I stopped using this, whatever. So let's get out there with a big smile on our face. This is joy, man. We have been transformed. And